A lot of these agencies don't know what the hell's going on. So the owner hands it over to an agency does just kind of set it and forget it. And Google makes money when they match you and other advertisers as much traffic as possible. So every click that isn't relevant is a waste. The owner says, I want to increase the spend, I want to grow. And it's just that same waste blown up out of proportion. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's slow bleeding and a lot of ways it happens.
Welcome back to another episode of Goodfirms Podcast, Conversations That Matter. If you are a business owner running Google Ads, I want you to take a deep breath because today's title is a bit of a gut punch. The attention lie. Why your Google Ads agency is robbing you in slow motion. Our guest today doesn't do fluff. He doesn't do 50-page PowerPoint decks, and he doesn't do long-term contracts. He went from being an Israeli special ops commander to spending over 20,000 hours inside Google Ads, calling out the quiet structural waste that drains corporate budgets. He's the founder and CEO of Yael Consulting, Lior Krolewicz. Lior, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Laura.
All right, Lior, let's you start right at the deep end. You know, the episode title claims that most Google Ads agencies are robbing their clients in slow motion. Because the waste is so gradual, most business owners never even feel it. So Google Ads has become so incredibly complicated that owners just, throw their hands up and realize they don't understand it under the hood. So what does this slow bleed actually look like day to day inside an account, and why is it so invisible to the person, signing the checks?
Sure. So Google Ads got so complicated over the years, so business owners that are used to understanding it or managing it themselves are now not really understanding what's going on, and they hire an agency. A lot of these agencies don't know what the hell is going on. So that's a problem. And they set these automated rules for Google. And it kind of works good enough, right? So the owner hands it over to an agency does incrementally better, but then they just kind of set it and forget it. And then the owner says, I want to increase the spend, I want to grow. And they just open up all the budgets. And it's just that same waste blown up out of proportions, and it just starts bleeding all over the place. It doesn't scale very nice. And it doesn't happen overnight. They say, wait for the learning, and it's all this other fluff that comes into it. But at the end of the day, it's just slow bleeding and a lot of ways it happens.
Yeah, slow bleeding. Good term there.
Yes.
It's that classic, boiled frog syndrome. By the time you realize the water is hot, your budget is already cooked.
Yeah.
And that brings me, to a structural question here. You've clocked over 20,000 hours in this ecosystem, which is just mind-blowing. So when an account is underperforming, is it usually a competence problem, as in the agency just doesn't know any better? Or is it an incentive problem where the agency gets paid their retainer regardless of whether they optimize the account daily? So what is that hidden conflict of interest here?
Yeah, so sadly, it's kind of like the item before. A lot of agencies charge very little, and then they do very little. They set it and forget it. And sometimes when they charge very little, they hire low-skilled workers to kind of just manage it or communicate, so they don't really know what's going on. I mean, I see accounts that are set up so bad that you just have to, they're doing some work, but it's so incorrect that you have to realize that they don't know really what they're doing. But other times, it's really that just they send it and forget it, right? And it's when agencies are in the business for helping themselves win versus helping their customers win. That's the mindset that really hurts everybody at the end of the day.
Yeah. The built to help themselves win mentality there. So that's a heavy phrase, but it explains why so many owners feel burned and really have no control or knowing what to do. Now, looking at your bio, it's impossible to ignore the transition you made. So you went from an Israeli special ops commander to managing millions in ad spend. So, I just have to ask, does that operational discipline genuinely change how you protect a client's budget on a random Tuesday, or is it just a really great origin story for marketing assets?
So it really is a mentality, right? Like the no BS, just loves to win. I mean, we work with one client per market because that's it. We have one client in that market. We can help that client win. It's really that straightforward mindset. Everything's month to month. We don't lock you in because, again, let's earn a relationship every month. And I have clients going for 9 years already, right? So it really is being in that mentality. And when you're in that mentality, when you have one client in the market and you have to help them win and you love winning, you really get into the weeds. That's kind of what drives you in there. And then you build a relationship. So it's really that kind of mindset of just getting things done.
Yeah.
And the right way.
Yeah, I like that. And protecting the budget shouldn't be a random occurrence, But let's talk about what the rest of the industry considers normal. The industry default for most agencies is review search, queries about once a month. You argue this is far too slow. So what does a monthly review cadence actually cost mid-size advertisers over a single year in completely wasted clicks?
Yeah. So the basic way Google works is you paying for quality traffic. And Google makes money when they match you and other advertisers as much traffic as possible. So you guys compete for random, even irrelevant terms. So every click that isn't relevant is a waste. And yes, it's a lot of data, but we've actually built some proprietary tools to manage this because that's, again, the foundation. And if you manage that up front and do the legwork, then once the quality of the traffic is very good, then that's half the story to make it work. And then things just happen. It's a lot of work, but it's just going in there, doing the work daily, early on. That's a big part of it. And then just keep, figuring out from there. Actually going through the search queries, you actually discover new words, new things to build out. You learn about the business that way. And then it scales from there.
Okay. The secret sauce is literally just doing the actual work daily.
Yeah. So it's surprising the secret sauce is doing the work.
It's wild that basic diligence is considered a differentiator, but it makes sense when you look at how these relationships are structured. Now, Yael Consulting operates strictly month to month, while the rest of the industry loves locking clients into 6 to 12-month contracts. So let's be blunt here. If an agency's work is consistently profitable, why do they need a legal contract to keep the client from walking away?
Right. And it's kind of ridiculous to me from day one. I mean, I've always been this way for 15 years. Like, I want to work with someone who wants to work with me, and I want to make sure it works. I mean, if it's not working, then why stay with it, right? For whatever reason, right? And sometimes not working is that the client wants to bring it in-house. Great. I'll train your people, take it in-house, and keep winning, right? It's just fun to be in that mentality all the time, and keep it positive that way. And I hope clients that leave do better, with their in-house team, and then I'm always available for questions. But I couldn't imagine just it not working, you not being able to help them, but then having to stick together. Why? There's no winner there.
Yeah, it makes it tense and awkward.
Yeah. And again, I like coming to work, having fun, enjoy what we're doing, helping businesses grow. And that's the fun part.
Yeah, and it's the ultimate reality check when they come back knocking on your door, right? Another thing you do that defies standard agency growth hacking is offering market exclusivity. Now, you will actively turn down direct competitors of your existing clients, and you openly reject businesses you don't think that you can help be profitable. So from a pure business standpoint, why is walking away from that revenue a feature of your model rather than a limitation?
Sure. So, I mean, it's always been odd for me because when I say win, I actually mean it. And, we don't do participation per trophies or whatnot. So winning means being number one. And when you have two clients in the same market, how can you really deliver on that, right? So I keep it simple, say, we're here to be number one. And if you're focused on making a client be number one, then you help them grow as big as possible. After they grow, you grow alongside them. So I don't see it as a limitation. I see it as an enablement of really focusing all our powers into one client in a market, get them to win that market for real and grow alongside with them. And that's all, again, I keep saying it's a lot more fun, but that's how we come to work.
Yeah, and it's refreshing, to hear someone prioritize market dominance over just collecting logos. So let's get into the technical weeds for a moment here. Business owners are frequently told by their agencies that whenever they want to scale, Google needs a massive expensive spike in spend so the algorithm can learn. Is this a real technical necessity, or is it just a convenient agency excuse for poor performance?
Yeah, so it is a huge problem. And it goes back to that when, like the search terms, right? If you're matched a lot of garbage terms and then you kind of make it work still a certain way and then you want to grow, then by definition, growing means getting more aggressive in your market. So pushing harder. So if you're getting more aggressive and pushing harder, and a big part of that push is garbage terms, you're just going to match to a lot more garbage, right? And that's kind of the mentality. So yes, it is by definition more expensive, but if you do the legwork and all your terms you're matching to are pretty darn good, then that push won't be that bad, right? And also it's about understanding how Google works and not just saying, oh, you want to double your budget? Double. No, you go in and pinpoint that's working better than average, push that. That's working better than average, push that. That's not, pull back. It's being really laser precision and watching it, right? Watching the data and make sure it performs as you think it's going to perform. So it does perform a little worse, but for most companies, it performs much worse than it should because the way it's being pushed.
And that strategy is isolating the losers and keeping the winners running smoothly makes, a lot of sense here. And speaking of letting the algorithm run wild, let's talk about the giant elephant in the room, Performance Max. Google is heavily pushing these automated black boxes. So in 2026, where does this automation actually bring genuine value, and where is it quietly burning a hole through a business owner's wallet?
Yeah, so these black box campaigns can be very productive and very effective. But the way it's being managed today, again, isn't very ideal. I mean, in the past, Google used to force, maybe 2011, 12, used to force you to have at least like 15 conversions in your account in like 30 days or something before you can even enable automation. And nowadays, it lets you enable automation right away. And people enable it, but their setup isn't even correct. So they're setting automate my conversions, but you're not tracking conversions, and Google will allow you to do that. And then it's just a lot of waste. So like any effective tool, it can be very powerful, right? If it used correctly. I guess they're saying about the microwave, you can cook a meal or cook a man, right? So, same kind of concept. So it's very powerful, very effective if you're using it correctly.
Yeah. Now, Lior, you do something rare. You perform every single account audit yourself via live screen share, like in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy pitch decks, which I love because that personalizes it so much. You feel like you're getting a one-on-one with you. So for our listeners who can't get you on a live call this week, what are the top 2 or 3 questions they should ask their current agency right now to instantly find out if they're being neglected?
So the first thing is if you can ask the agency to show you what search term they matched to in the last 90 days, right? And sort of say, hey, most of my spend's going to this search term, not keyword, the actual term Google matched you to, right? And just eye it. You are the business owner. You know if that's best for your business, which is a hugely neglected thing. Tell your company, say, let us manage it. We know stuff. They know Google Ads. You know your business. So it's only that partnership of you giving that, expertise from your side on what's good for your business is going to make it effective. So after the last 90 days, what are you matching to, sorted by cost, and make sure it passes your sniff test on what makes sense for your business. Next thing is, when I see conversion in the account, what does it mean, right? People see conversions and they think it's effective for their business. But sometimes people check a page view. Someone looked at a page, conversion. Or someone got on someone called us, but it was only a 5-second call. That's not a conversion, right? And have them tell you exactly what it means, and you will know if it makes sense for your business, right? If I tell you it's a 5-second phone call conversion, no. A page visit, no, right? So you'll know the answer from there. And then also, what's the logic behind the account structure? Why is it structured this way, right? It should mirror how you think about the business. So when you say, hey, I want to push product ABC, okay, go to campaign ABC and push that budget, right? That's how it's set up. It should mirror how you look at it. That's the only way to be effective if the account's built in the same way that mirrors your thought process for the business, and then it scales.
Yeah, those 4 questions are absolute gold there. And listeners, write those down, send them to your account manager, and watch how fast they sweat. All right, Lior, to wrap things up, we are moving into our classic Goodfirms rapid fire round. Quick questions, gut reactions. Are you ready?
Let's rock and roll.
All right, what is more stressful, being an Israeli special ops commander under pressure or watching a client's budget disappear into a Google smart bidding algorithm?
That's woo! Rock and roll indeed. Well, it's been a while since I was under fire. Well, except for now. But I think it's nowadays, because when it's automated and it's not working, it's in there. The data's there. And there's so many different ways you can look at the data and slice and dice it and just trying to figure it out. So it's equal, I would say.
Okay. If you could only check an active ad account once a week or work 80 hours a week for the rest of your life, which torture do you choose?
Jeez. I would check it. I would check it once a week, but I think this bigger thing is the AI stuff. People are saying, "Oh, AI is doing our work." No, we're just letting you do a lot more work and more effectively and divine stuff. So use AI and then once a week with alarm bells if needed.
All right. What is one buzzword a Google Ads expert uses that instantly tells you they have never actually managed a complex account?
Accept all Google's recommendations. Increase your budget, increase your bids, and give Google all the control.
All right. What is the most well-meaning but destructive habit a client does that accidentally ruins their own campaign?
They make changes in the account when we're managing it. And that to me says there's something we're not doing. And they're not used to us being able to be so reactive. So it's like, just tell us, call me directly, call the phone number on the site. I'll answer. Tell us what you want to happen. We'll make sure that translates into Google Ads. But when they make changes, because sometimes we see something happen, we're like, and I'm telling my team, how the heck did this happen? Who's doing this? Why would we do this? And it's, the client did it at 8 a.m. So we have to undo that, talk to the client, and make sure we get aligned.
All right. Is an ad spend under $3,000 a month a legitimate business strategy or just an expensive hobby?
Legitimate, 100%. I mean, I started companies with, testing it out for $500 a month, went out to sold and IPO and all that fun stuff. I mean, because you're paying for that traffic. I mean, if you're going into legal where the cost per click is like $1,000, maybe that's an extreme. But as long as you have the traffic, right? Bigger budgets mean you have to get more conversions, but smaller budgets get less. So yeah, 100% legit. 2,000 is even enough. Something 1,500. I've done 1,000.
All right. If forced to choose, would you rather let a completely unmonitored Google AI run your account or a fresh college intern who has never seen the dashboard?
Fresh college intern who never seen the dashboard. Because I say if someone is smart and they care about the client, the foundation, they can figure everything else out. If it's burning, you're going to want to put out that fire, right? And you might not know, but they ask for help. But that's the mindset.
All right. Final one to close this out. Complete this sentence. Your Google Ads agency is robbing you if they
aren't truly focused on helping your business win.
All right. Brutally honest, highly actionable, and exactly what we needed to hear. Lior, before I let you go, I know there are business owners listening right now who are probably sweating, wondering if their budget is currently bleeding out in slow motion. If they want to get their hands on one of your famous 15-minute live screen share audits or just follow your insights, where is the best place for them to find you and Yael Consulting?
Yep. Yael Consulting, YAEL Consulting.com is the number on the top right. Call it. I literally just answer. We'll talk.
Fantastic. We will make sure both of those links are right in the show notes so our audience can click through immediately. So, Lior, thank you for coming on the Goodfirms Podcast and cutting through the noise today. And to our listeners, go ask your agency those questions this week. Stop the bleed, protect your budget, and we'll see you in the next episode of Conversations That Matter.